Yes, yeah, morning all. Before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes. Yeah, the Django framework. So frameworks, we have got different frameworks for Python, different frameworks of Python. Yes, the Django is the most famous framework. Also, we have got many other framework like FLASK framework, pyramid framework, bottle framework. Yes, turbo gear, turbo gear. Right? Yes. The Django, Flask, Pyramid, Bottle, Turbo Gear, right? Yes. Among all this, the Django is the most famous framework. It has got many flexible features. It has got its own database. It has got its own application server. Um, Many flexible features provided to the users. Even most of the code is generated by it automatically, right? Later, I discuss about all these features, characteristics of this Django. But how to become generally like how to become a Python full stack developer, a Python full stack developer. How to become a Python full stack developer. In Python world, in Python world, there are three positions. There are three positions. Backend developer, front-end developer, full stack developer. There are three positions, right? Yes. In Python world, there are three positions. Backend developer, front-end, and yes. Backend developer deals with logic and flow of data. They deal with logic and flow of data. Deals with logic and flow of data. Front-end developer responsible for how data appears. How data appears to users. How data appears to users. How good how good the data is presented on the web page. Responsible for how data appears to users. That is how good the data is presented on the web page. How good the data is presented on the web page. Full stack developer, right? Full stack developer, right? bridge the gap between the above two positions, right? Full stack developer is going to bridge the gap between the above two positions. So if I talk about this front end first, front end technologies, what are the various front end technologies? Front end technologies, right? HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, jQuery, all these are front end. For example, HTML. HTML for presenting the data, on the web page. CSS for adding styles, to HTML. For presenting data on the web page, CSS for adding styles to HTML. Bootstrap, predefined styles, JavaScript for adding dynamic nature, to HTML pages. For presenting data on the web page, CSS for adding styles to HTML, Bootstrap, predefined styles, JavaScript for adding dynamic nature to HTML pages. HTML static responses. HTML static responses. HTML plus, if you talk HTML plus JavaScript, dynamic responses. Dynamic responses. For example, to display data, to display data, HTML is enough. HTML is enough. Static response. Static response, right? Yes. For dynamic responses, display current date and time. For dynamic responses, display current date and time. So HTML alone is not sufficient, right? It's not sufficient. We need to add JavaScript. We need to add JavaScript. Static and dynamic responses. Static and dynamic responses, right? Yes. Static response. What do you mean static response? If response is not varied, from time to time, If response is not varied from time to time, for example, home page of a organization, home page of a organization, home page of a bank, login page of a Facebook, home page of a bank, login page of a Facebook. Dynamic response. If response is varied from time to time, if response is varied from time to time, example, balance page, Gmail inbox. Dynamic response means if response is varied, right? If you see Gmail inbox today and tomorrow, you will see the difference, right? But home page of a bank remains same today and tomorrow, right? Static. What do you mean by backend now? Backend. Second is like backend. What to display as response? What to display as response to the end user? To the end user, right? What to display as response to the end user? We have four components. We have four components. First one, language. Which language, like Python or Java, like as a full stack developer, which language? Yes, you want like Python or Java. Secondly, like framework. Framework. Django, FLASK, Pyramid or Bottle, Turbo Gear. So we'll be choosing this Django here. Database. Which database? MySQL or Oracle SQL Server, right? What is that? IDE. IDE, right? Yes. PyCharm Professional. PyCharm Professional. VS Code. Roles and responsibilities of Python full stack developer. Roles and responsibilities of Python full stack developer, right? Yes. So understood, right? It's backend and front end. Front end are these tools like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. That's what we'll be discussing as part of the course. Backend, like the language, the framework, the language we choose, the framework, the database, and the IDE, right? Yes. Roles and responsibilities of Python full stack developer. Roles and responsibilities of Python full stack developer. Developing and managing web applications, working with databases, Working with databases, working with templates, working with databases, working with templates, front-end technologies, right? Working with back-end technologies, working with web server, logical or problem solving, logical or problem. Yes. Developing and managing web applications, working with the databases, working with the templates, front-end technologies, working with the back-end technologies, working with web server and logical or problem solving skills. Full stack web development, right? Full stack web development. It is a process. It is a process of developing. It is a process of developing both front end. It is a process of developing both front end as well as back end web application. Hmm. You need to understand some web terminologies, right? Before web terminologies. Web terminologies like what is www, internet, web page, website, web application, web browser, web server. First one, World Wide Web, World Wide Web. It is a system of internet servers that supports. It is a system of internet servers that supports hypertext documents. It is a system of internet servers that supports hypertext documents. These documents called as web pages. System of internet servers that supports hypertext documents. These documents are called as web pages. The starting point in a document. The starting point in a document as a home page. The starting point in a document is called as home page. Internet. It is a huge network of network. It is a huge network of network. www is a service of internet. Document which is written in HTML. Document which is written in HTML, which brings together all the text, images, audio, video, hyperlinks, etc., all at one place. All at one place, right? Website. Group of interlinked web pages. Group of interlinked web pages which has a single domain name. Group of interlinked web pages which has a single domain name. Right? Yes. Web applications. An application which runs on a web server. An application which provides web browser. The software used for browsing. The software used for browsing. Example, Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, web server. The software that provides web server, the software that provides the users with the required documents. The software that provides the users with the required documents. The software that provides the users with the required documents through web browser. Finally, like web framework. What is a framework? So like Django is a framework, right? What is a web framework? It is a code library, I can say. It is a code library. which helps to build, which helps to build flexible web application. So in the Django, we follow MVT architecture. In Django framework, what we are going to discuss, we are going to follow MVT architecture. MVT. M means model, view, T like template. Model like database. View involves like Python functional Python functional view or class views. Templates using this HTML, CSS stuff. See, within the see here, this is the between the web page, between the database, Python in the middle. How Python is going to take the data from this web page and how it is going to store within the database, and how to retrieve the data from database to this web page. For example, I want to retrieve data from a database. Python is going to bring the data from the database and display on the web page. And if you're typing any registration form, if you're submitting, and Python need to take that data, right, which is on the web page and stores in the database. Okay. In the case of Java, we follow MVC architecture, model view controller, right? MVC architecture, but here we follow MVT architecture, model view template. So here you may ask why we need to go for Django. We have got many frameworks are there for Python itself. Why we need to go for Django only means at a rapid speed you can develop a web applications. At a rapid speed you can develop a web application that too with very less coding as compared with the other, like with very less code at a rapid speed you can develop web applications. Yes, and here we follow MBT architecture, model view templates. So here we'll be developing nearly many applications here. Mhm. Everything will be hands-on, many assignments and tasks, clear notes, and the video you'll be getting, right. You can check this course content once, right. So here first, you will be given the knowledge on this UI technologies, HTML in brief first, coming to cascading style sheets, CSS in brief, JavaScript, and also coming to this Django framework, introduction, web frameworks, Django installation, Django project architecture, and Django application creation, Django views, Django templates, Django admin, Django models, advanced concepts like Django ORM, Faker module, form validation, rendering forms, uploading and downloading files. Some audio video kind of applications also I'll be discussing. And apart from the Django framework, I'll discuss about one more framework called FLASK framework. One more framework, what I'm going to discuss is FLASK framework. So here, uh, if you see, you may ask from the last 20, 25 years, like Python, sorry, Java, .NET are mostly used in creating of web applications. Why again this Python Django? As compared to that, right, if we talk about Java, huge coding is involved, very huge coding as compared with that Python advantages. That is very less code is the first one, and also simple syntaxes and rapid speed. At a rapid speed, you can develop a web application. Okay, fine. Just this introduction like for Python full stack developer, what are the front end, what are the back end, static response, dynamic response, different web terminologies before we go with this web page, website, web application, web browser, web server, MVT architecture, model view, template. Tomorrow we'll see just introduction to this and also like a sample web page, how simple creating a sample web page, right? In the Django framework before we go with it, right? So I'll be starting with HTML first, total HTML in brief, cascading style sheets, JavaScript, Bootstrap, the Django framework, FLASK framework, and a project, right? So tomorrow also you can follow the same link at 7 o'clock using the same time to see more discussion on this. So just the introductory session today. So tomorrow we'll go ahead with the things, right? Yes. Any queries from your side, anyone? Okay. So I'll stop for now. Tomorrow we'll continue more discussion on this, right?